I just want to come on here for people that's watching this particular video, talking about Philando Castile and the shooting and the verdict, non-verdict, and injustice that remain for this case. And it seems like, again, every year we have this outcome where African Americans are pulled over, harassed, what have you, and a shooting is the outcome, a death is the outcome, and we go through the so-called justice system to seek justice, and yet there's no justice. Now, in the last 5 or 6 cases of shootings and incidents with African American male and female, the only case that's getting somewhat of justice is the Walter Scott case that happened in North Carolina, and with the Slager guy. For people that's familiar with that case, and Walter Scott he was running away from the officer, and the officer took a gun range stance and just shot Mr. Walter Scott in the back repeatedly. And the only reason why we having some kind of justice in that case was because there was some cell phone video. Because if you dig in the facts of that case was already closed, because what he written, the officer, in the report was already validated, signed, sealed. But when the video surfaced a couple of days later, they had to null and void that. So they had to charge him with something. But when we talk about the other case of Alton Sterling, who was football tackled in front of a convenience store, Louisiana, no justice, on the ground by 2 officers, and was shot in his chest. When we talk about Eric Gardner, who was choked whole and slammed, and the death of Korean Gaines as well, and Sandra Bland, and like I say, just countless of others like Keith Scott, that was in his SUV. They asked him to get out of the SUV. You can see in the dashboard that he was, in the dashboard camera, he was walking backwards towards the police car and was just gunned down. Now, I know this is my political video, and most of these political videos, they get views and people just turn the other cheek. But this is an annual event. Every year we have a case that makes it to high profile, like Terrence Crutcher, who had a broke down SUV in the middle of the road. Any reasonable officer would offer some kind of assistance to say, hey sir, do you need us to move your vehicle to the side? But the Caucasian female officer felt so threatened. They love that word. It pisses me the fuck off. Because I told you in previous videos what was the buzzwords. I felt threatened. He or she got a gun. Whether they got a gun, whether it's on the body camera footage, it doesn't matter. Just the utter of the word he or she has gun is rights to kill. And the case that happened up there in Chicago where they was shooting at the car and the guy ran behind some houses, and there's no body footage, camera footage, but you can see the guy. Once they finally get to the guy, he's laying there face down with gunshots in his back. And they admitted that they should not have been shooting at the car. But again, time after time after time, we see it. And every time there's an incident with an officer, it's always always some mental condition that just happened sporadically. Like in the Shelby case with the female. She just had a temporary loss of hearing and she couldn't hear, and so she just shot. Just like in this case with Philando Castile, if you will. I'm sorry, I apologize. That officer had a temporary something that they called it. It's always an excuse for why an officer can just black out, shoot, and then come to two again, and everything is fine. And then Mr. Castillo's case, he had a license permit to carry a gun. And what's being said really is, you can be Sandra Bland and don't get out your car right away. They take you to jail and somehow you end up dead. You can be a caregiver, provider down there in Florida trying to help a mental guy playing with a toy truck in the middle of the street, and yet holding your hands up telling them that, hey, I'm this guy's caregiver, provider, trying to help him. He's not a threat, I'm not a threat. And yet you still get shot in your leg. It was a deaf guy that was pulled over. And as soon as he got his car, he was gunned down as well. And it's just a repeated pattern over and over every year. Now, some cases make high profile news, some don't. But as an African American race, we realize the signs. We see it now. And they're showing you that with every case, as long as there's no clear-cut cell phone footage, everything's okay. And, you know, for this scenario, I'm just kind of fed up with it. Because we see that it's a standard every year. It's a standard. Police shoot somebody. They think about charging them. They may charge with a lesser charge, something that they know they're not going to stick anyway. And then they end up getting off. And then when we have a protest out here, we supposed to be all peaceful. We shall overcome someday. And nothing's changing. It's okay to have a little peaceful protest, but what the fuck is a peaceful protest or protest period if we're not sitting down and getting shit done? We're not speaking to the motherfuckers that's in charge. All these midterm and presidential term elections, nobody's saying that. Nobody's speaking up until they want to fucking vote from the African American community. So we being pimped by our votes, and we being pimped by the system as well. And walking down the street holding a fucking sign ain't doing shit. It ain't saying shit. Even when you burn some shit down, you still ain't saying shit. And Black Lives Matter, I'm not going to go there in this video with Black Lives Matter. Because I see, we don't need Black Lives Matter to come out here when we have this scenario. This scenario right here is enriched in slavery. This is how deep this scenario right here is. And that's the sad part. And so, with this video, and with the peaceful protesting that's going on, I'm hoping that eventually there'll be some kind of dialogue where it'll be leaders in every state that will finally come together. If they can come together when a goddamn congressman get shot at a goddamn baseball field, then why you can't come together when African Americans get shot on these goddamn streets every motherfucking day? We supposed to be all on our knees praying for that motherfucker, excuse my language. But when African Americans get shot, it's turn the other cheek. But pray for the baseball field guy. Fuck out of here. Is what I'm saying. But we know what country we live in, right? Right. We know that these are Native American streets, and we know who feel they own these streets out here, right? We're not surprised of what goes on in this country. And we're not surprised of the non-change as well. Because you mean to tell me with all these cases, no justice. From Korean gangs being harassed about a ticket or fine and end up killed in front of her 5-year-old son. From Sandra Bland to Eric Gardner to Terrence Crutcher to Alton Sterling to Tamir Rice, Michael Brown. I mean, do I need to keep going? It's just every year. It's annual. We have this. And every year, they get on the news, do all these political ass shows. We gonna change. We gotta have dialogue. We gotta do this. And ain't shit changed. Same every year, same old shit. Every time we go to trial, we already know. As African Americans, they gonna get the fuck off. That's why they charge them with a little lesser, little ticky-tack ass charge so they can get off. And as always, the officer felt threatened. I felt nervous. I felt threatened for my life. I was temporarily paranoid. I had a stroke. Always a fucking excuse for the shit. I mean, I see it. Look at some of these videos of all these other cases where the officer can cuss you out. But when you cuss, it's disorderly conduct. But when they cussing you out, fucking A. I mean, we know the double standard is real. Now, I'm not here to put no damn cop on no pedestal, because that ain't gonna never happen. That's not for me, it ain't. Because no, get the fuck out of here. If you're that tough, take your ass overseas and fight ISIS. With that bullshit, you feel me? But I'm sick and tired of the Black Lives Matter dropping the ball. Every year you got the opportunity to do some major shit. And y'all drop the ball. You get out here, you protest for 5-6 days, and then what? Ain't holding no meetings, ain't holding none of these mayors and governors in these states accountable. Nobody ain't having no dialogue. Nobody's going to the city council and going to the state capitol and saying, hey, we're going to sit out here until we have a sit-down fucking meeting with you folks. Nobody's doing that. Black Lives Matter. I'm saying, if Black Lives Matter, why the fuck are you not in the inner cities curbing some of this black-on-black violence too? Don't just wait till we have this Caucasian shit that's been going on since slavery. You don't need to do that. We're going to get out here. We're going to get out here for that. From the civil rights movement, Rodney King, all this, and up to now. All this shit goes back to slavery. They ain't going to never change. But if you really trying to do some Black Lives Matter, won't you hold some of these people in these states accountable and bring some serious change? I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Rest in peace to all the people that we have lost. Even the people that names don't get mentioned on the news, in hashtags, etc. I'm hoping moving forward that this new generation take it serious about justice. Because after a while, what I'm seeing here as we move forward and as the years pass by, it's just going to be swept under the rug. They just do whatever they want to do, and you have to deal with it. And it's okay. Because everybody can go home and watch reality TV and shit. Y'all might want to stay woke, all right?